You've probably heard about the actions of the U.S. Army Rangers from their portrayals, which you've seen in the movies such as Black Hawk Down, and the actions that they've done throughout Panama, Grenada, and throughout the global war on terrorism in Afghanistan and Iraq. Good afternoon. My name is Kenny Sprague. I'm a first sergeant at the 4th Ranger Training Battalion, formerly known as the Benning Phaser Ranger School. I've been there for 17 years, and what I want to talk to you about is how you can become a U.S. Army Ranger and what actually a U.S. Army Ranger is. Well, a Ranger is a soldier who's considered a three-time volunteer, meaning they volunteered to join the Army, volunteered for airborne training, and volunteered for Ranger training. They're part of a Special Operations Forces responsible for closing with and destroying the enemies in close combat and supporting other Special Operations Forces as well. All right. So how do you become a U.S. Army Ranger? There's multiple ways. There's a lot of steps you have to do in order to become a Ranger. First of all, before you even decide you want to conduct Ranger training, before you come and conduct Ranger training, you want to ensure that you're of sound mind and body and that you are physically prepared for the rigors of what's going to happen and that you're here for the long haul for U.S. Army Ranger School. All right, what you're going to do, the first thing is coming to Fort Benning, Georgia. All right, you'll get in process on day 0. That's what we call it. 62 days in duration. If you make it straight through. Majority of people, only 30% of the personnel that come through Ranger School make it straight through. So the first event they're going to conduct is a Ranger Physical Assessment Test, formerly known as the RPA. All right, it consists of 49 push-ups, 59 sit-ups within 2 minutes. All right, and then they need to conduct a 5-mile run within 40 minutes. And then after the run, immediately do 6 chin-ups. It sounds easy, but we fill up 50% of our population in the PT test alone. All right, the next event they're going to conduct is called CWSA, also known as Combat Water Survival Assessment. All right, that consists of a 25-meter swim with equipment on, keeping their head above water and being able to swim 25 meters. And then they have to be able to conduct a log walk, rope, and drop, which is 50 feet suspended in the air. And then at the end of that, they have to do a pull-up on the rope. The next event they'll move into the early morning, which is still dark out. They'll conduct night to daylight navigation, finding a total of 4 out of 5 points. At the end of that, the next event they'll move on to will be a 12-mile foot march in 3 hours carrying a 50-pound rucksack. If they fail that event, they immediately go home, and then that literally completes all of RAP week. And the next event they do is they immediately start transitioning into the Doggy Phaser Ranger School, which is known as Small Unit Tactics and Squad Operations. What they'll do is they'll conduct an airborne operation, jumping into the field, conduct squad operations, and they'll learn how to do small unit tactics and do planning, conduct raids, conduct ambush, and conduct reconnaissance while they're here at Fort Benning. They'll be placed in leadership positions, and if they're successful, they move on to the next phase of Ranger School, which is known as the Mountain Phaser Ranger School, which is held in the Blue Ridge Mountains of Georgia, in Dahlonega, Georgia. Once they're there, they'll start integrating into a platoon. Once they integrate into the platoon, they'll conduct mountaineering operations and rope techniques to make them successful to operate as a platoon. This is where they start maneuvering as a platoon together and formerly called the Walk Phaser Ranger School. All right, they'll be placed in leadership positions, and they have to be successful in those leadership positions in order to move on to the next phase, which is held in Florida, also known as the Swamp Phaser Ranger School. During the Swamp Phaser Ranger School, they're going to conduct small boat operations and conduct SWAT movements throughout, and this is also known as the Run Phaser Ranger School. They have to be successful while completing these events in Florida. If they're successful in Florida, they'll move back to Fort Benning, Georgia, and for their graduation. Once they graduate, they will get placed in special operations units such as the 75th Ranger Regiment, or they'll get placed in conventional forces to make their units more successful in the Army. So in conclusion, what we've talked about here is we talked about what a U.S. Army Ranger is and how you can become a U.S. Army Ranger. Remember that a U.S. Army Ranger is the Army's most elite, premier fighting force able to close with and destroy the enemy. Rangers lead the way.